Hi, you're listening to the My Body, My Story podcast.
You need to find people who appreciate you for just who you are with no extra rings and bells.
This is the 45 over 45 chapter where we celebrate rule breakers and role models, the women who inspire us to live life our way and to show their sensuality, beauty, soul, and true essence. Here, we talk about what it's like to be 45 plus, adjusting to the changes that come with time, and we listen to the stories of our participants. If you have an interesting story, we'd love for you to participate. You can email us at info@alexandrawalker.com. That's Alexandra spelt with a K-S. Or visit our website, alexandrawalker.com.
Hi everyone, and welcome to My Body, My Story project. And today with us in the studio, Rayghaan. And while she's sitting in the makeup chair and Chitra is doing makeup for her, I'll be asking her a few questions. Hi Rayghaan.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
And let's start our podcast and tell us 10 facts about yourself.
I am an immigrant from South Africa. I was born during the Rayghaan. I am an English teacher, but I work as a diverse learning coordinator. I have a really funny little thing on my ring finger. I was born with it. I don't know what it is. It's not quite a birthmark, but it's the most unusual little skin defect. But I love it. I actually love it. It brings me comfort when I look at it. It's almost shaped like a triangle, and I love it. What number was that?
It was number 3.
Okay. Number 4. I have two sons, and then I have a late daughter, so I have a 10-year gap with my children. Yes, late surprise we call her.
Yeah.
She is the delight of our lives. I am recently divorced and very, very happy about it. And I've actually just read a book recently that gave me a wonderful sentence that I've kind of just been dwelling in for a while, and it says, "Grief is the cocoon of which we arise anew." So I just think that's marvellous, because it is. If you don't have any struggles in life, real struggles, you never see how deep your soul actually is. And that, for me, is just wonderful. I have come from a very long line of strong women. So I knew I was always going to survive this grief. And I did.
And how long you been in your marriage?
20 years. 20 years.
That was a huge step.
Huge, huge, huge. What number are we up to now?
5 or 6.
5 or 6. My favourite colour is aqua. So it's quite unusual because it's a mix of green and blue, but I love it. I have lots of it in my wardrobe, and I try actually and avoid it because I wear it so much. I love being a high school teacher. I love being challenged, but I also am quietly an introvert. People don't realise that, but I actually wouldn't mind just staying in my room knitting for a year. I wouldn't mind that. I knit baby booties. It's like a moccasin style that I knit. I only knit one style of booties. In fact, I only knit those. I do the odd beanie here and there, but I never knit big projects because I knit for my own pleasure and I don't want to be committed to something for too long. So I knit something that I know I can do within 3 days. It's normally like 3 CSI shows that I...
And what do you do after you finish them?
So I have a collection down sort of in my storage facility, and I just give them as gifts to people who are obviously having babies. I work in a school, and there are lots of young teachers who fall off the teaching wagon every now and then and go off and have babies. So I'm constantly
So you supply your colleagues.
gifting, yes, and family and friends, of course.
Yeah.
But it is something that I absolutely love. I've done it pretty much my whole life, knitting. And I also recently, when I say recently, I mean maybe 6 or 7 years, learnt how to crochet. And I love doing that as well.
Do you have any kind of Instagram account, or you just hide it behind?
I do. Perhaps I should, yeah?
Yeah, well,
like I said, I have several of my students constantly telling me, Miss, you need to be a TikToker, whatever that is. I love toe rings. I wear 4 or 5 at a time. I am a big sucker for mango flavoured anything.
Oh, wow. So you love mango.
I love mangoes. But my favourite fruit is actually an orange.
Oh,
really
that's interesting.
Plain and boring. I know. I love a good orange. And it's the orange that comes out now. It's that Italian orange that comes out now. And it's got sort of like a almost yellowy green, orangey peel. It's my favourite.
I love blood oranges.
Oh, I do too, but not my favourite.
Yeah.
I don't quite deal with the bitterness at the end of it so well, but I do like a blood orange.
For me, they're not that
Bitter?
acidic, you know.
They're not, you're right.
They're more kind of, there is a specific taste of them.
It is, yeah. And that's why I like the Valencias, because the Valencias are sweet rather than acidic.
Yeah. Cool.
Another fact is I'm actually fairly blind. I can't see very well.
Oh my God! So how do you manage?
I have lots and lots of glasses.
Okay.
But I also just prefer to be sort of living in a world of blurriness a lot of the time, because the glasses annoy me. But I definitely cannot wear contacts. People have constantly asked me, why don't you wear contacts? I do not like touching my eyeballs.
Yeah.
I cannot do it.
The other solution is LASIK.
Yes, I've heard about that, and I've not yet explored that, but I will.
It just makes your life much easier.
It does.
Not that we were trying to talk anyone into that.
But it does make your life. No, I have a friend who's had it done, and he says it's the best thing ever. But yeah, I will actually explore that. I'm actually going on a trip in about a week. So when I come back, these are all the things that I have to do.
Somewhere in Australia or abroad?
No, I'm actually going to Mecca.
Oh God!
I'm going on a
You're going on the
visit. Not
visit.
the Hajj.
Not Hajj.
Yeah.
Because I think you can do it. You can do it all year round.
You can do it all year round, and that's when it's called an umrah. And when it's that particular time of the year, it's called a hajj.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you just go as a tourist, like a visit.
Going as a tourist with my 3 children. A bit of a spiritual cleanse after the trauma we've all been through in the last few years. So,
yeah. I believe that places like that, they have this special energy anyway, all year round.
Yeah, sort of soul rejuvenating. Yeah, that's right. I've been told that area, as well as lots of other, not lots of other areas in the world, but certain other areas in the world have got a magnetic field attached to it that is sort of unexplained in science. Birds and planes don't circulate around certain areas in the world, and Mecca's one of them.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Interesting. Sounds great.
What are we up to?
I lost the count. Yeah. So if you have any more facts, we can continue.
I have a specific empathy for people with disabilities. And that's why I'm in the diverse learning world. But I have rheumatoid arthritis, and I grew up with a mother who had psoriatic arthritis. And it's a really crippling autoimmune disease. So I actually am very grateful that I am rather lucky. I've not had any surgeries to correct any joints. And my flares are inconsistent, but not common and often enough to cripple me too much. When I do flare, I am quite incapable of walking sometimes or doing anything with my hands, and it is quite emotionally crippling. But I have wonderful children and friends and family who help me out. But due to that, I'm grateful actually that I am able to establish a really strong empathy for those people who
have disabilities. And you haven't mentioned your age, so because we're doing like 40 women in their 40s, 50s.
I am 47.
So you think that age added up to that, or
so
it's not connected with the age?
My mother had it the moment I was born. I got it the moment I gave birth to my second son at the age of 33. And my sister got rheumatoid arthritis as well at the age of, I think, 38 when she gave birth to her son. So I think what happens is your body, it activates when your body's gone through a certain traumatic experience. And in our cases, both my sister and I, and also my mother, it was birth, it was childbirth. So I still remember my very first flare was from my shoulder down to my elbow, and then this entire area here was flaring, and it was just so painful. My shoulder was so painful, and I thought it had something to do with perhaps the way that I was holding my baby when I was breastfeeding him. And I just wrote it off as that. And then I remember getting burning sensation, pains throughout my body. And then when I finally realised that it wasn't normal, because the inside of my palm, and I think at that stage my son was about 6 weeks old, and the inside of my palm was just burning. And then I realised this isn't normal. I've done nothing on the inside of my palm to warrant that pain. And when I went to the doctors, I had a blood test done, and they said, yep, you have rheumatoid arthritis, like your mother. But in my actual case, it's called palindromic rheumatism, because very much like a palindrome in maths or English, the way that the word starts, or the way that the joint starts, it actually flares and then returns back the way that it did. So very much like a word as well.
Wow, that's sounds like not a really pleasant thing.
Yeah, it's at this stage though, it's not degenerative, so my joints don't degenerate yet, but they say that later on in life, when I go through that fabulous change we all go through, it'll start degenerating. So I'm not looking forward to that, but I am emotionally preparing myself for it.
So very interesting. And let's move to the subject of the project. It's about our age and our changes with age and our body. And what does aging means to you?
Honestly, emotionally and psychologically, I still feel so young. I think it's got to do with the fact that I am a teacher and I'm around young people all the time. But in saying that, I am constantly reminded that I'm not young, because I can't see very well. And I always have to put my glasses on and off and on and off for different things that I have to read and mark. But I own aging. I love aging, and I love the new experiences and the new life pathways that come with aging. So I welcome it. I enjoy aging, and I'm actually quite disillusioned when I see people visually trying to avoid aging with implants, and honestly, I do not understand. And I think I'm a fairly vain person, but I just don't think I could ever go down that pathway and do something to myself to not age. I welcome the wrinkles because I've earned them. I welcome my mummy tummy because I've earned that. I welcome the stretch marks because I've earned that. Yeah, aging, bring it on.
Bring it on. So, but if you could go back to any age, what would it be and why?
I would probably go to my 20s. I would go before children because I was travelling and I didn't have to consider anyone but myself.
So you miss that.
I do miss that. I love my children. They are my life. But I do miss the independence of just picking up and going.
If you could, what advice would you give yourself at this age?
I actually would have said to myself to start having children earlier.
Oh, really?
Yes, which means that I wouldn't have had my 20s. I would have been a mother, but I would have preferred to have had my 20s perhaps later on as well. Whereas I've had children really late, and I now know that my responsibility is to see that they become strong and functioning adults. So my time is still for them. At this age of 47, I still have to.
How old they are?
17, 15 and 5.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah, they're still becoming who they are.
At 5 is a long way to go.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, and she is the light of my life. She's adorable, yeah.
And if your body could talk, what do you think it would ask you or tell you?
Well, I think it would probably say stop eating Tim Tams every day of your life. That is my weakness. I love a good chocolate biscuit. And I actually can feel it now because for the first time, I think beyond 45 is when I felt that you must take care of your body. You must take care of your body. And I started drinking a lot more water post 45, and I started exercising this year only.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Congratulations.
But in saying that, I feel amazing. Like it's just, they tell you all the time that you'll feel amazing, and you actually do. You actually do. I still hate it. I hate getting up and actually doing it.
Yeah.
But just throughout the rest of your day, you feel amazing. So just do it.
So what do? You just go
I walk.
You walk.
I
Yeah.
walk, and I've now just recently started running and started doing free weights. So
Oh, I love free weights.
same.
And I just recently started doing Pilates reformers.
Oh, yes. I've started Pilates as well.
Oh my God, I love it.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I haven't tried reforming. Everybody's going on about it. So that is
that's-
something that I'm going to be
This
investing
is
in.
really nice.
Right.
It just touches every part of your body. Like it's very targeted.
Yeah, I hear so.
exercise. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'll be doing it. I'll definitely be doing it. You're not the first person to recommend it. It's sweeping the nation.
Yeah, love it. Okay, so what do you think are the main causes of body image issues?
Obviously, male-owned media. It's really quite simple. Stop following ridiculous people and live in your own life, in your own time, and live in your own reality. Your body will tell you when it's too much. Your heart and soul will tell you when you're pushing too far. Listen to that rather. Don't listen to nonsense on your feed of Facebook and Instagram and all the other nonsenses.
Of how you have to
follow your own soul, follow your own voice, and listen to the deep inside you.
And how do you believe negative body image affects relationships?
Oh, honestly, it actually affects young girls specifically, and that's again I go back to the fact that I work with teenagers constantly, and it really bothers me because it's reality for them, and if you don't have a solid parental influence telling you that that's not real, it really is quite sad. You know, if you are believing that I have to have a waistline like this, and I have to have a face like this, and I have to have, you know, a skirt length like this, it really is quite disheartening when we're not taught to just accept who we are. Yeah. And it's a difficult thing. It's a really, really difficult thing in this world to teach children and just people to accept the person that they are when they wake up in the mornings, and to love who they are when they wake up in the morning. It's a really, really difficult thing to actually, because the world has been so saturated with what is perfect. And, you know, we are never, ever going to look like someone else's idea of perfect.
Yeah. And what do you think the relationship, why it affects, and I'm talking not only about the man-woman relationship, but generally the relationship between friends and people, you know, like, do you think the way you see your body and your body image really
Yes, well, it shouldn't.
Make it or break it?
It shouldn't, but it does, because we also haven't learnt to find people, like I always say to my students, find your own people. And if you haven't found your own people who will love you exactly the way that you are, it's really hard. You need to find people who appreciate you for just who you are, with no extra rings and bells. And that's the difficulty in not accepting who you are, and falling for all this media placement of what is perfect and what isn't.
And why do you think they do it?
I think it's a solid misunderstanding of guidance from when they're children already. So at the moment, my little girl, who's got curly hair, comes home and puts water in her hair and brushes it straight and thinks that that's perfect. So that's something that I have to work on as a parent. And I don't know if I'm doing that because my parents instilled such a strong love of self within me, but it's also because of my faith. You know, you're as a Muslim, you are taught that you were created in your own version of perfection. So don't mess with it. You are perfect because you were created so. So I was always taught that, okay, I said, but my toes are funny. Yes, but they're perfectly funny because you are perfectly you. You know, it's that wonderful Dr. Seuss story as well. Nobody is more youer than you. And it's something that I think that we need to be perpetuating that in our children today, because I think that's why, because nobody seems to appreciate themselves as themselves.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's very sad. And I'm trying to understand, like, I have idea why, as a person with a marketing and business background, I know why media does it, or people behind media. And it just, for me, it's so obvious. And sometimes I just wonder, why don't you understand? And why parents?
Why don't you separate what the marketing reality is trying to, and your own reality?
And it's so strong. You know, they say like the media is the fifth power, and you get to understand why. Because
as an English teacher, it's something that we teach. We teach the bias in media, and we teach that. But it's really bizarre because you'll still find people be heavily influenced by advertisements.
Don't you think because they don't have their own, as you mentioned in the beginning, like you say to your students, find your own self.
Find your own sense of self, and settle yourself in your own soul. And if you can't find your soul and you can't find your settlement, then you need to retract, because it's always inside. It's nowhere else. It's nowhere else. It's not outside of you. It's all inside. And if you don't quiet your soul and sit in it, and sit in your own body and find it, and find who you are, and sit quietly and learn who you are, you're never going to be happy,
Yeah,
essentially.
and until then, you're gonna be influenced by other people and media.
Always looking outside. And you know, I've always had that, and I'm grateful for it, but I've always had that ability to work out whether I can connect with somebody or not. And one of the ways I can connect with somebody is if they are indeed comfortable in their own skin. If they're not, I find it really difficult to connect with them as a person. I mean, I'll, you know, be cordial, but I cannot connect with you if you're not settled in your own soul. I find it really difficult because I can't do shallow talk. I can't do it.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah. I get very deep very quickly. And if you're not comfortable with that, then walk on by.
So, how do you overcome some body-related insecurities when they come up? Because sometimes we have it anyway. So what's your go-to
Very good question.
method?
Very good question. I was just talking to my son yesterday, who, mind you, has got a perfect body. He's short, but well proportioned and muscly and cut, and he's got a beautiful body. He's 17, and you know, all the girls at school would tell me this, and I would find it a bit odd because they do realise I'm his mother and I changed his bum. But my point is that he was saying, you know, Mum, it just really drives him out. If you're fat, stop eating, lose weight. You know, and it was really quite simple. Now, in some regards, I'm to blame for that because I'm his parent. So that point of view comes from somewhere. So I actually have always brought them up with, listen, you're not eating to keep yourself skinny, and you're not avoiding things to keep yourself skinny. You're eating because you have to help this body that you've been put in, and you're in it for who knows how long, but, you know, 70 years possibly, so take care of it. So my kids eat a carrot a day. I eat a carrot a day. I eat an apple a day. They eat an apple a day. And they eat a cucumber every single day, those 3 fruits. I don't know why. It's just because they're simple to pack in their lunches. I don't cut them up. They eat them rough. Now, I've instilled healthy eating in my children from the start. I have one son, like I said, who looks like a model. He's just short, but gorgeous body. Other son, overweight. Now, he was very, very active and stopped being active. And he has now decided in his own heart and mind that he wants to fast twice a week to fix this up. So when I asked him just last week, so why did you decide that? Like, I think you look fine. Are you? And he goes, because I'm not healthy, Mum. Let's face it, I'm not healthy. And I said, okay, so that's the reason. It's not because, and he goes, it's not because of the muffin top. I've gotten quite used to the muffin top. And I went, okay, good. So I myself make the same deduction. I don't mind having an imperfect body, but what I do mind is being unhealthy. Yeah. So it's not about body image for me, but I suppose being healthy comes along with the body image. So when I do run, I have to admit, I do look better. But it's not about the body image for me. It's about being healthy. And when I'm overweight and I try and bend down to put my shoes on, it does bother me that I can't get there. But it's not a factor. I don't worry so much about being overweight as much as I worry about my heart having to work harder at this age. When I was younger, I must admit, having to take care of myself wasn't even a thing. And, you know, a lot of it's got to do with genetics. And I think that's actually a really unfair thing, because some people are just always a little bit overweight and they're a little bit chunky. That's me. I've always been chunky. So I'm always going to be a little bit overweight, but I'm actually so okay with it. Yeah. But it just also means that I'm always going to have to eat less Tim Tams, you know. But it is something that it does affect me. It does affect me. But it's not about the way that I look as much as the way that I feel. And it's always been like that for me. And that's something that I've perpetuated with my students profusely. It's not about the way that you look, but it is about the way that you feel. It's so important, because the way that you feel will come out in the way that you look.
Yeah. So when we're talking about insecurities, so your insecurities comes the moment you understand that it's not healthy. Yeah. And so what's you start dieting, you start
Well, no, I don't start dieting as much as replacing.
You're like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah, no, I can't diet. I cannot diet. But I do fast, not now, but terms 2 and 3, which is the shorter days. I fast Mondays and Thursdays, pretty much right through terms 2 and 3, which in the end ends up about 40 days of the year. But I replace. So I make soup 52 weeks of the year. Every week I make soup, and my kids have always got containers of soup in the fridge to pull out of. The soup is a mix of lentils, meat and vegetables, and it's really, really simple. So what I'll do for that week that I'm perhaps not eating Tim Tams is I will have a soup every day. I'll also see that I have a cup of green leaves every single day, and that makes all the difference for me. I know it's boring, but if you put a cup of green leaves underneath a chicken schnitzel, instead of rice or pasta,
fiber.
yeah, it's quite nice, and that's what I do. Is I love meat, so I will have a steak on top of a bed of spinach and kale.
Yeah, it's also healthy. Healthy meat.
Yeah. And like I said, and those 3 vegetables every single day, my children and I eat that every single day.
Very good. So, do you have ways to bring yourself into the body shape you want? And if so, how have this changed with age? Like I know we just spoke about the substituting things, and you said you never exercise, you just started that. So, but how did you do it when you were young?
Okay, again,
same way, or you changed?
Yes, same way. But it was a lot faster when I was young, a lot faster. And I have this terrific cousin who's an exercise physiologist, who kind of was my guide when I was younger. And he's the same now. So he'll say to me, oh, you'll just need to do these sorts of squats or these sorts of push-ups. And that's what I do. I kind of just listen to a few key people. And again, like I said, genetics, I'm fairly lucky like that. Hence why my boys, they can do something and then they can see results quite quickly. Like I said, my one son who went from doing 5 days a week of activity to nothing has obviously picked up this weight. But what he's done now is he's picked up his exercise game and then he's also changed his diet somewhat. But again, he's 15, so obviously it's just going to be, and he's a boy, it's going to be falling off him like it's not funny. But at my age, what I've done is it is a reduction of processed foods. You've got to get rid of it. Yeah. You've just got to get rid of it. And just drink water. Just drink water. It's the word that the kids have taught me this week. What was it? It's such a flex, miss. In our day, we used to say it's a superpower. You know, like just a little bit of knowledge is a superpower.
And they
say it's a flex. And the flex is that you know a little bit of something that, is just amazing. And what it is just drink water. Drink water. And just don't drink the soft drink. Just drink the water.
Yeah.
Because if you drink your 2 litres or, however many litres you're supposed to drink a day, you don't have time to drink all the other stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Interesting. So my last question, and it's my favorite one. If you have any, what is your favorite quote about being a woman or saying?
Oh, wow. I would have to say that we are vessels of power. I always admired the way that my mum would say, just remember, men may be stronger, they can pick you up, but they cannot give birth. So you know who's stronger down the bottom there? You are. So that my mum would say, you can get a man in between your legs and squeeze the hell out of him. Which is actually, you know, it's not sexual at all, but you know what I mean? Like you can actually wrestle and win because women are strong down there. But what she was actually saying is deeper in the soul, women are stronger. You know, if a woman walks away from a man, he crumbles. If a man walks away from a woman, she survives.
Absolutely.
And across the globe, those numbers are proven again and again and again. If it's the woman's choice to leave the man, he crumbles. If it's the man's choice to leave the woman, she'll survive.
Most of the time, it's the woman's choice.
Most of the time, it's the woman's choice, and then she survives.
Yeah. For us survivors.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, Rayghaan, for the wonderful interview. I really enjoy it, and I hope that you will enjoy the rest of your day and your photo shoot. And thank you again for joining the project.
Thank you. I absolutely am so excited about today.
If you have an interesting story, we'd love for you to participate. You can email us at info@alexandrawalker.com. That's Alexandra spelt with a KS. Or visit our website, alexandrawalker.com.